Imagine you are leading a new project to upgrade your company's internal software systems. You have a clear vision and a detailed plan. However, when you try to assign tasks, the engineers say they need approval from their functional manager first. The marketing team is too busy with their regular departmental work to dedicate time to your project. This scenario, where authority and resource availability are unclear, is a common project problem. It highlights the profound impact of your organization's structure on your ability to manage projects effectively. The most crucial takeaway from understanding organizational structures is their direct impact on the project manager's role. Your level of authority, the availability of project resources, and the communication pathways within the organization are all shaped by this structure. In a functional environment, you might be a guide, whereas in a projectized one, you are the leader. A matrix structure requires you to be a skilled negotiator and communicator, balancing competing priorities. For your Certified Associate in Project Management exam, it is vital to distinguish clearly between the different matrix types. Remember, the key differentiator is always the project manager's level of authority and control over resources. A weak matrix means less authority for you, while a strong matrix means more. Do not confuse the terms. Focus on who makes the decisions regarding project, work, and resource allocation. Now that we have explored the internal framework of organizational structures, our next step in the project management fundamentals section is to broaden our perspective. We will examine the external and internal factors that influence a project, but are not under the direct control of the project team. These are known as enterprise environmental factors, and they represent the broader context in which your projects operate, building upon our understanding of governance and organizational setup. The way an organization is structured fundamentally dictates how projects are initiated, planned, executed, and completed. Understanding these structures is crucial for any certified associate in project management, as it directly influences your authority, the availability of resources, and the communication channels you will navigate. This lecture will clarify the main organizational structures you will encounter, their characteristics, and their specific effects on project management. We will explore how different structures empower or constrain the project manager, and how they shape the project environment. First, let us define what we mean by organizational structure. This refers to the hierarchical arrangement of lines of authority, communications, rights, and duties of an organization. It determines how information flows between levels within the company, how decisions are made, and how resources are allocated. For a project manager, this structure is not just an abstract concept. It is the very framework within which your project either thrives or struggles to gain traction. One of the most common organizational types is the functional organization. In a functional structure, people are grouped by their specialized areas, such as engineering, marketing, finance, or human resources. Each department has a functional manager who oversees all work within that specialty. Projects in this environment are often managed within a specific department, or they might be cross-functional but with limited authority given to the project manager. In a purely functional organization, the project manager typically has very limited authority. They might act as a project expediter or a project coordinator. A project expediter primarily serves as a staff assistant and communicator without decision-making power. A project coordinator has some power to make decisions, some authority, and reports to a higher-level manager. Resources are assigned part-time from functional departments, and their priority is often determined by their functional manager, not the project manager. This can lead to delays and resource conflicts. Next, we have the projectized organization. This structure is almost the opposite of a functional one. In a projectized environment, teams are organized specifically around projects. Once a project is completed, the team members might be assigned to a new project, or they might return to a resource pool. The project manager in a projectized organization has a high level of authority, often full authority, over the project budget, schedule, and resources. In a projectized structure, team members report directly to the project manager, who is typically full-time on the project. This setup fosters strong team cohesion and clear lines of communication, as everyone's primary focus is the success of that specific project. An example might be a consulting firm or a construction company where entire teams are assembled for a single client engagement or building project. The main challenge here can be ensuring continuity for team members between projects. Between these two extremes lies the matrix organization. But this hybrid structure combines elements of both functional and projectized approaches. In a matrix environment, team members report to two managers, a functional manager and a project manager. This dual reporting can be both a strength and a source of complexity. The key to understanding matrix organizations is recognizing the varying degrees of authority granted to the project manager. There are three main types of matrix organizations, distinguished by the relative power and authority of the project manager. A weak matrix organization leans closer to a functional structure. Here, the project manager acts more like a project expediter or coordinator, with limited authority and often part-time involvement. The functional manager retains most of the power and control over resources and project work. This means the project manager must rely heavily on persuasion and communication to get things done. A balanced matrix organization aims for an equal distribution of power and authority between the project manager and the functional manager. The project manager is typically full-time and has moderate authority over the project, but resource decisions often require negotiation and collaboration with functional managers. This structure can be effective, but also prone to power struggles if roles and responsibilities are not clearly defined and communicated. Finally, a strong matrix organization leans closer to a projectized structure. In this setup, the project manager has significant authority, often full-time involvement, and greater control over project resources and budget. While team members still report to a functional manager for administrative purposes, their primary allegiance and task direction come from the project manager for the duration of the project. This structure provides a good balance of project focus and access to functional expertise. Beyond these primary types, organizations can also adopt other structures, such as virtual organizations, where teams are geographically dispersed and collaborate using technology, or hybrid organizations, which combine different structures within a single entity. The presence of a project management office, or PMO, can also significantly influence how projects are managed, regardless of the underlying organizational structure. A project management office can range from providing supportive templates and best practices to having full directive control over all projects.